Hello and welcome to the program. Today is a freeform chat, just hanging out, giving project updates, kicking ideas around, and Jaji, I passed you a mic. Hopefully it connects you. Wait, I think it's working.
Can you hear me?
Let me hit a little bit of news right out of the gate.
Sure.
And then we'll get into project updates and stuff. Because it's been a little while since we did that. So just very briefly, the last session podcast was put up on platforms yesterday. That's out there. Go have a listen if you want to catch up with the last session. Chris and I are doing our next filmmaking workshop, the filmmaker's hero's journey, as it were. This year we got our next session on Thursday. That's been going pretty well, and putting those out as podcasts too. So the next one of those will be out on Thursday. It is already edited and scheduled. I have been trying to work ahead on this stuff because the it's funny how things kind of like compound into time. And then we weren't able to do a workshop last month, so that means 2 of them this month, but it also means 2 podcast episodes to edit and stack that stuff up on top of. Last thing is J. Kenton Pierce. I did an interview with him that was released last week. He has gone on to be Prometheus nominated or awarded.
Cool.
And I think that another one of their authors as well over at Rack Press. They're making waves. They're
good. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So glad.
I'll kick off the current work stuff too. Progress. I am working on Relic the Element short film, obviously, while we are editing the short story. But also, I have started working on the audiobook production that will accompany For the Love of God, right? So that's already recorded, and I'm getting it trimmed down. Lots of work to do there yet. Hopefully get it done before the end of this month, I think is kind of the goal for that. And then I'll take my time in August doing the audio play production for that, but no rush. Just kind of like kicking along with that one as it goes. Jaji, your mic's already open, so why don't you tell us what you've been working on? Give us some project updates.
Well, the first thing is that my grandkids are here, and 2 of them are here literally, so I will mute if they start making noise. They're sweet girls, and they're downstairs right now, but I didn't know they were coming today. Other than that, I am going back and forth between my novel and a new editing job that's really interesting, but has a number of the guy's doing weird things with time over a long period of time. So it has some challenges that are different from what I normally deal with. For instance, you can't just give someone a goal that's going to come to at the end if half the book is written way after other parts of the book. You know what I mean? So I'm enjoying the process of figuring out what to say and recommend to this guy to give it a little bit more. It needs a little more of the exact what we talked about last time, the through line. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. It's long though. But the big thing for me was that I have to change the name of a character. And this poor character is the second time I've changed his name. And I loved the first one, but I have discovered from being in Facebook groups with other romance writers that British lords will actually complain if you use the name of a real British lord. So I found out that the name I had used was the name of a real actual British lord. So I had to change it. Most of my characters, this doesn't come up because I use like Avalon and Carleon fantasy names for them, which the real British lords don't use. But this one just was Snowden. So I had to change it. And when I was working in this last chapter I was working on last night, I myself became confused because I had 2 different characters, Lord and then a word starting with P, that were close enough that I actually misread which one. And I thought, there's no reason I should do this to my poor readers. I can give the guy a different new name than the one that I had picked to replace Snowden. So I went over with my two co-authors some possible names, and we all agreed on one that looks significantly different from any of the other names in the. Uh, it's actually the Welsh word for Snowdonia, so it's kind of almost going back to the original name. But at least now I have a new name for him, and luckily with search and replace, it's not hard to replace it, but it is a little bit annoying to get used to a new name and switch it all over the place, and let my beta readers know and stuff like that. So that's about where I am at the moment.
Yeah, very cool. Heidi, project updates, writing updates, recording updates, and then we'll go to Robin.
Hey, Carrie. Hey, Robin. Good to see you guys. Yeah, I got the hardcover of the house that Jack built up. It was mainly just a matter of doing the cover, but I had to, you have to alter the size slightly. I thought it would take, and then I had to add more imagery to it, because if you look at the cover of the house that Jack built, it's a silhouette of Jack, and he's got the cowboy hat on, a slouch hat on, and it was going to cut the hat off. So it was like one of these things where you're just like, why is it, it's always like, yeah, I can do this. I'll just do 20 minutes, just stretch it. No, it took me like pretty much the whole day just to mess with it so that it looked acceptable. So that's up. I've been, I have some lovely edits. I've been working on the fort all weekend, 3 or 4 days. Yeah. So I'm kind of going to, I've done universal edits across the whole book, sort of cleaning up the tics that you get, the overuse of things, right? We all know this, right? Where you have your characters, it's almost like it's like placeholders, right? So it's, in a way, when you're writing the novel or you're writing a big story like that, you put in these sort of placeholders, it's, and not just said. It's kind of like, I want some sort of reaction from them other than, Jack said. But as you're writing, sometimes you just overuse those placeholders. It begins to look like a tic. So for me, like the word eyed, he eyed him. It's like, well, I'm in about 20 different things from he eyed him, but I used eyed forever. So, you go through, and it takes a long time to do it, because it's like you're going through like 170 times you've used this word, which is like, it's too much. And so, it was, so basically cleaning that up, dropping that down, doing all of those sort of universal edits, and going through, and that took a while. Not just on, there's other little universal things that you go through and clean up, right? So now I'm going through on the more detailed edits, like a lot of stuff you pointed out, Jaji. So going through on those little pieces and figuring out how to address them here, there, and everywhere. So, and that said, I'd already updated my style sheets for the InDesign doc for layout. So I'm going to try this time going through. I'm going to go through, I'm at the point now where I'm just at the final chapter thing. So I'm going to start putting them in to InDesign chapter by chapter, as opposed to just, a global dump. And to see, as part of my editing process, sort of combining the editing and layout process. I want to see how that works. So I've already started doing that. So I cleaned up my style sheets and InDesign. This is all the things I'm doing to, go forward, because I have a template for my novels that I use for layout. So I'm doing all of that. I have the cover for the book more or less done. I just have to get the exact page count so I can do the exact size for printing. So yeah, hopefully over the next, months, we'll see how that goes. In terms, I'm hoping to I've got this weekend's kind of big. It's my son's 21st birthday. So probably
That is big.
yeah, so we'll be taking a few days off. So from that, but at this point,
I completely sympathize with what you're saying about the ticks. My husband got so tired of me using the word amuse, I had to go through and like remove it 50 times. You know?
Yeah, no, you
He's
do
like,
it.
what do you mean he's amused? Like, exactly what are you trying to say here?
We all
I
have
couldn't
that, I
figure
think.
out how I was using. Yeah, exactly. By the way, I forgot to mention in my excitement of having to change the name, I do have some real news, and that is the Prospero books are now available in paperback, which they weren't before. And the sixth book of Unexpected Enlightenment, Guardians of the Twilight Lands, the audiobook is now live. So those are two huge steps for me that I've been working on for a long time. And I just wanted to mention.
Spectacular. Yeah, no, yeah. So, I mean, just to finish off the recording, I'm working out a plan on recording right now. So I'm just going to keep that to myself for the moment. And obviously, we're working on the anthology. So that's all happening.
Do Jack's house.
Yes, I'm going to do Jack's house. But as I
just knock it out.
I hear you. I just told you, though, this week's, I got my son's birthday. So
I hear you.
No, I know what you're saying to me, and it's fine. And I've been pausing on
It's
it.
July.
Right yeah,
it's fine.
Look, you know what? It hasn't been a priority for me. I'm thinking about it. So when it's a priority, it'll get done.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I work. So, and I'm thinking it may wait till August because my son leaves. This is, I have other things going on. I've got a couple of things going on, which aren't as positive, which I won't share.
That's how
but
it goes.
Yeah, well, we've got a family member in hospice right now, so that's going on as well. So, yeah. So I'm going to wait till August when I think things will settle here, and I'll be very, very bored and looking for things to do, and that will be something I'm sort of saving it.
You'll knock that out quick, though.
As an escape from the other crap, shall we say? But on that note, I will defer to the next author.
That'll be an easy one for you. It'll take only a couple hours.
Yeah, it'll be it's like 22,000 words. So I think it'll be like 4 hours long. Yeah. So,
Robin.
Hey, hello. Yeah. Hey. First of all, Heidi, I hope everything is well with your family. I'm sorry. I know hospice is a very difficult situation. Yeah. So I have big news. I signed with a publisher. I signed with. I sent you an email, Heidi. You may have gotten it. Yay! Yeah. It's the Wild Rose Press. I'll drop the link in the discussion. Really excited. Signed the contract about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, and now it's sort of whoa. Now it's sort of hurry up and wait. I expect that it will. I know it's going to be published in ebook format and hard copy, which I'm very happy about. Probably will come out in 2027. That's what I'm guessing. It just seems like they're very easy to work with, and we'll see what happens. They do cover design, they do the editing, so it's hurry up and wait kind of. So I'm very happy.
Yeah, very cool. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you.
Who knows what comes off of that? And I feel like you're working on the other story too. So
yeah, that's I'm editing that. I'm not, because the sci-fi, that's going to be limited what I can do with it. I'll be done with editing my horror novella probably in a few months, and I'm just going to hold that for a little while because I don't want two to come out at the same time. And this publisher seems.
I mean, if you're looking all the way into 2027 already, you could bang out this book. You could have this book out by the end of the year.
I could, but this publisher is also very welcoming with, with more books from the same author. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to take it a little slow because it's the first time I'm being published, and I know there's a lot of marketing I have to do, and I just don't want to get overwhelmed. So I'm going to stick with book number one and maybe 2027, 28, I'll put the other one in. So.
Yeah. Very cool. Carrie, you got a book coming out. I know you're doing pre-orders or something along those lines. What's the plan? When does it release? Are you doing an audiobook version? That seems like something that would be very fitting for you.
It would make sense, wouldn't it? I haven't actually had the conversation with my publishers to see what the scope for that is. I would absolutely love to. I would absolutely love to do that.
You ought to.
And I just might. Well, I'll have a chat with them and see what the policy is on that. It might actually be something that I could get just release to do and then do that via my Substack. But we'll see. I'm kind of a little bit more focused on the next couple now, just because I loved most of the process of writing this book, but it was always lingering that I didn't choose this particular book. It was chosen for me, but I did love it. It's not to say I didn't enjoy it. It's just once it got to the second or third week straight of just research, of desperately trying to find serviceable tales that could actually meet the type of book that they've put out before in these collections by county, I was just like, I'm nearing the end now of caring about finding good stories from this county, because it's a remarkable thing that it's got everything. Carmarthenshire's got everything to suggest that there would be a glut of folk tales. Every surrounding county has. So Pembrokeshire near the coast has got a ridiculous number of folk tales. Ceredigion has got the most ghost stories of any county, pretty much, in all of Britain. And then Powys is the motherlode of Welsh folktales. It's just got all of them. And even the Gower Peninsula, not even a whole county where I'm from, that's got roughly the same number of folktales as all of Carmarthenshire. It's remarkable. So there's 28 or 29 in the book, and that's about it for serviceable folktales. You could do 4 volumes on Powys. So it was a bit of a slog towards the end, but then in writing them and making them right for publishing, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So actually working on a topic and in an area that I want to work in for the next 2, that's going to be a joy. But yes, it's going to be out in November. It's available on Amazon and other places on pre-order now.
So you're slated for 2 more follow-ups with them?
Yes, we're talking about it now. They've already said we want more, and I've given 2 ideas, and they're amenable to both.
Great.
So it might be that it's another 2.
Let me check again, but last time I tried to pre-order it, I couldn't do it through America, through USA Amazon. They were being fussy and forcing me to do it through UK Amazon and then it was like your book was going to be like $50, which, God bless you, but still, you know what I'm saying? So is it, just if you could ask, I want a copy, obviously, but I would like to be able to buy it through US Amazon. So I have all that's coming up under Carrie J. Phillips is Health Economics, an introduction for health professionals. Is that you?
No, that's my arch nemesis. That's Dr. Carrie J. Phillips, who unfortunately he's got the same, not just middle initial, he's got the exact same name as me.
That's really funny. That's really
we're
funny.
We're from the same city as well. I used to get his mail sometimes, genuinely.
I think I've told you guys the story about my husband started writing. He wrote to his agent and he said, there's another John C. Wright out there. Should I use a pen name? Maybe Nostradamus Apocalypse or something. And the agent wrote back and said, by some strange chance, I am also the agent for the other John C. Wright. So if either of you sell books, I make money, so I don't care. So he stuck with his name.
That's really funny. But Carrie, on the other thing, I had the same, just to continue on this, I had the same issue with Will's book, with the Fulton Sheen. So just FYI, so if you would like us Americans to purchase said novel,
Yep, it's
so just, I don't know if you can check into it or not, but maybe ask Will what he did, or I don't know if it's because it's on pre-order or what, but just FYI.
Are you searching on the US version for it and it's just not listed there?
It's not even in here. You have to go, I have to pull up the name of it, and it goes to the UK Amazon. Amazon UK is the only place I can find it. And I know it's, and you posted that link, which goes there, but it just doesn't come up. All I get is the doctor. Your nemesis comes up. That's it. So
yeah.
just FYI to whoever is posting this.
Yeah, they might only have those markets enabled because of rights and stuff.
Maybe. I know that a lot of the books from the publishers, a lot of the folktale anthologies do sell in the States.
Okay.
So I know that that is something that happens, and they do sell internationally.
Oh.
So maybe it is just a pre-order thing, but I have had mutuals here say, "Here it is, ordered." So I will check in to see if they shelled out $50, which I'd be mortified.
It might have been 35 or something. I don't remember, but
it's going down. It's going down. You're going to be saying that it was
no,
99 is way too much.
It's funny. I would have to go in. I'd have to go find your link again on here the next 20 minutes. I could do it. Let me say something else. You have to do an audiobook of this stuff. You really should. And not just on Substack. You should put an actual book up. I mean, it's your whole, it would be, I mean, I would just say it would be very, it would be wrong. And you have an excellent resource over near you. I don't know how far you are from each other, but again, I will point out that Mr. Anselm knows how to do audiobooks. So even if you don't have it, and it's not that hard because I can do it. So not that I'm not brilliant, but I'm also somewhat tenacious when it comes to something I want done. But nonetheless, you can. It's not that hard.
No, I'll definitely.
I mean, you're an actor. I have no idea why you wouldn't do an audiobook. I'm just saying.
I'll have a word with them and see what's what there. I've got a book launch sort of around sort of November-ish, and then there's 2 bookstores. Waterstones, which is sort of equivalent to Barnes and Noble in Carmarthen itself, has booked me for an evening in the new year, and a Welsh language bookstore, but they also sell sort of local interest and general Welsh interest stuff as well, also in Carmarthen, has booked me. And I've been around sort of quite a lot of the bookstores in the county, and a lot of sort of places like landmarks and museums and things like that have gift shops, and it'd be kind of a good fit there. Literally everyone's taking them. And there might be as well the possibility that every school in the county is going to be getting copies, which would be awesome as well, because that actually ties into my school. I could actually do a tour of the schools, actually working through the folk tales, which would be really great. And yeah, the next 2 have even broader and more international appeal then, because this is hyper local. But yeah,
it isn't. May I add, Michael is also a superb audio engineer and basically walked me through being able to do it. But I point out Will for you just for geography's sake. But still, I don't know if Michael's got. I don't know. I want to volunteer him, but he's being quiet right now. But I would just point out
He knows how to use the microphone.
You have access to a couple of people at least. One who you can physically get around. I know, so that's why I'm saying that. But that, I mean, in terms of fairy tales, I collect all that stuff. I have like a whole shelf of books with mythology, fairy tales, the whole thing. I've even got the one by the Yeats one that oh god, is it Kilcullen of Mercenay? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but no, there's lots of people who are weird like me who love this stuff. You gotta, it's great.
Yeah, the sort of the big ticket ones, the ones that even sort of beyond Wales, they'll be familiar. At least the motifs will be familiar. They're equal in size. I haven't sort of padded them out and made them longer, which I think ultimately the publishers kind of expected that. They thought that there would be several pages dedicated to the Lady of the Lake. There'd be several pages dedicated to the stories of Merlin and things like that. But ultimately, I decided to make them all sort of equal in length, because when they're told via the oral tradition, as opposed to going straight to and relying just on the literary sources, which includes a lot of padding, when it's stripped back and presented as the book is meant to be, as a collection of folk tales, they should all be pretty much equal in length when you look at just the plot and the beats themselves. And that's how it's worked out. There are a couple that are shorter because they are shorter tales. Those are the ones that I like the most, to be honest, because they're a little bit more hooky. They're a little bit more designed to just thrill. And that's what a good folk tale is, really. We're not looking at the heights of mythology and reflecting man's condition back onto himself. It's not that at all. They're silly, fun little things, and cool motifs, and so it's quite rough and ready, I think, in that regard. But there's some bangers in there that I found as well. Some amazing sources that I had to gussy them up a little bit, but the bones are there and remain unbleached, I think.
Hey, Robin, are you still here? I had a question for you.
Yes, I am here.
I just had a random question. We were trying to figure out, sometimes we have people show up and sometimes we don't. And so I wanted to ask you, do you show up just because you happen to be free, or do you not see our space at all some weeks?
When I join, I always look for the invite, which I sort of accept like a week before. It says that's what I do. I go right to the invite.
Well, I was wondering, do you always see it, or are there some weeks you don't see it? We're just trying to figure out how, who will change.
I look for it in the writer's block.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
Thanks. Just a small question.
Yep.
Some weeks we seem to have a wider range than others, and I was just curious. I don't know if there's something we can do to reach further, but obviously when people are looking for us, that's wonderful, but doesn't help us know if we're reaching other people. So I appreciate it.
Anyway, so.
But it's exciting to hear what everybody is up to.
Yeah. When do you think... next year they're gonna have your book out, right, Robin?
Yeah, I'm guessing. I mean, like I said, they seem to have a very, pretty much a short window compared to other presses. It looks like they go quick. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of nice. I mean, because it's like you don't want to wait forever, right?
Right. I mean, they say that once the galley is done, they're proofing the galleys, that they give themselves up to a year, but it's usually between 6 and 9 months. Then you'll have your book out, and of course, first the audio, and then the hard copy comes out weeks later. So.
Is this how we're doing? Audio first?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm under the impression it happens because that way you have your ARC, your advanced reader copy through the, not audio, through, I'm sorry, did I say audio? I didn't mean, no, I meant ebook. Ebook comes first.
Oh, right.
Ebook comes first. And that's because of all the promo gets done through the ebook. And after that, then your hard copies come.
The people are there, so we're just doing ebook first. I always wonder about this process.
Yeah, it's not. It's getting clear as the weeks go by. It's not quite 100% clear.
Things have kind of shifted around too. Whereas in the past they were doing hardbacks first, and then you would get paperbacks, and then audiobooks later.
And I don't even know if I'm going to get a hardback. What I meant was hard copy. I think it's going to be like an oversized, it's what do you call it, trade or something, oversized.
6x9.
It's not regular.
That seems to be the size that has the best money for return. It's a nice looking thing.
Yeah.
It sells at an amount that's good for the publisher. And basically, they've gotten, a lot of places have moved away from the mass market size paperback because the paper is expensive enough now they can't make it pay.
Which is funny that Amazon just put in that wood pulp.
Yeah.
Which is the cheaper paper option too. So maybe it makes sense for them because they're doing it at such a massive scale.
They might have found a way of doing it cheaply.
Right. But then even the large publishing houses aren't moving enough of that size of book to make it worthwhile for any individual release that they're making. That's funny, to me.
Tor switched from doing paperbacks to trade paper in the middle of my series. So the first 2 books they put out a mass market. The third book they put out a trade paper. So nobody can have a complete set of the same size books from the Tor version, which nobody was happy with. It just seemed to me like a bad choice. They just should have put out the last book in the same size. Or they should have redone the first 2, one or the other. It was silly.
And mine also, this press is also print on demand. So there's not going to be, warehouse full. I think almost everybody does that now.
I think, everybody who's not the really big guys do that now, which is fun.
Can I ask about the wood pulp paper? Because I saw that on Amazon where you have the option. Is there an advantage? I mean, obviously
just
cost per unit.
Is it? But the quality of the paper. I mean, is it a lower quality?
I haven't seen it personally. Yeah, it's probably going to be a lower quality than what they have for black and white.
I do cream.
I do cream usually too.
Yeah, the cream paper, it'll be lower quality than that.
Well,
I'm tempted to one of these days just like set one up and do an author's copy just to see what it's like, but
my initial response was this is not going to look very good. I mean, assuming you'll see the lines in the paper.
What do you mean the lines in the paper?
So if you're making paper from scratch, and you can see like the
I know what you're talking about.
Fibers.
The fibers.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and thus they look like lines in the paper. And I know a lot of like high-end paper houses do that because it's pretty. It can be pretty, but I suspect this won't be done in a pretty way. It's not going to be done to look elegant per se. It'll be done, just out of necessity, expedience, shall we say.
They have a problem with their glue already.
Amazon?
If it gets, if the binding of the book gets too warm, that glue comes right apart.
Is this for the paperbacks?
Yeah.
Wow. That's nice.
I may try one at some point. I have to be in the mood to be playing around with it, but I have a number of books I have to post for John. Part of the Kickstarter we did a few months ago includes 12 books of his that were out of print that need to be typeset and put up, or they're in print and hardback but not in an ebook or something like that. So we're slowly going through the process now that we have the money to do it.
That's awesome.
And I have to post them. I have 3 to post right now. I might, for one of those, go ahead and just pick that option and do an author's copy, because you can get a proof copy and then switch it, for going live. And then if I do that, it won't be right away, but maybe in August. But if I do that, I'll let you guys know what I find when I get it.
I feel like I'm not putting that much stuff out this year. But it's kind of just the shift away from doing the monthly audiobook, which it's finally like set in to my body that I'm not doing that and don't have to keep up with that schedule, which was outrageously rigorous. In the meantime, I've put stuff out. I've put out 3 audiobooks already this year that were kind of repackaging, re-releases of stuff. The documentary's out. I've got an album of music that's waiting to come out. After that gets a little further with its streaming options, I've got an audiobook in production right now, and then I've got paperback and another audiobook that'll come out in the fall that I'm just getting started on now. I'm about 2 weeks behind on starting it, but also working on a short film with Chris that's kind of coming along. It's slow going, but it's happening a little bit at a time.
That's great. It's really frustrating to me not really having anything come out. Again, one short story in an anthology, but maybe not even that. But I just said I had to change a character's name, so I'm really grateful that I have not yet published the first book in the 2-book little series I'm doing, because I have made 3 changes in the first book because of things in the second book in the last month, and that's why I didn't do it. Under other circumstances, I might have sent the first one off to the small press I'm considering, and if they didn't want it, gone ahead and put it up indie. But I just thought I needed to really do these 2 together. So the hard part is that they're long and it's taking a long time and it's frustrating. But the good part is once I get them both done together, at least I'll know that, I'm not stuck with the wrong name for a guy because I've published one of them already or something like that. So I also found by sheer chance that there was a repeated line in the first book. I looked up a certain character and I had added in a comment about her, but somehow I had handed it in 2 different chapters. So, that hopefully somebody would have caught. But it's frustrating, you want to be able to be putting new things out. And I'm grateful for things like the fact that the audiobook came out. That's a nice thing. But on the other hand, I think when I look back later, I will be grateful that I did this the right way and took the time on it. And I hope.
2 things on that. First off, doesn't that make you crazy? I've done that. Like, you repeat the dialogue a couple paragraphs down. You're like, oh.
Well, it's bad enough where, like, sometimes a cut and paste error and you have it twice. But this was
it's never
20 chapters apart. 20 chapters apart. I had a little thing I wanted to add about a certain character. She dressed in black, and I wanted my main character to ask if she was in mourning, and her brother to explain she wasn't. I put it in 2 different chapters. I'm like, what was I thinking?
You arrived at the same thing twice?
I think I wrote it and cut it in, and then realized, I forgot that I'd done it and pasted it in the other one because it was exactly the same 2 lines.
That's funny. No, I totally get that. I did this more in the desert because I was watching myself a little more closely when I was going through the fort, but I just had repetitive things happening, so I was sort of writing the same scene, but writing it in different ways, and I just hadn't cleaned it out. Because, I had to learn to do that, to watch for that error where it's like, okay, figure out the way you want to say it, combine them or something. Because obviously you're not but it is funny. It is a funny thing, in terms of, putting stuff out. I think it's pretty obvious that I fall on the side of making sure it's right. And that doesn't mean, and it's just, I think, honestly, it's a personal workflow. It's an individual thing on how much you put out and, what your priorities are. It's like, if I'm dealing with this giant world that keeps getting bigger. So I have to be very, as you know, John, you've got that great story where you have a character who never forgets anything.
Yeah.
So you have to be really mindful when you're dealing with that. It's not like you're like, it's like it's a bigger thing, so it takes the time it takes, and I don't.
There are people that think 4 to 6 novels in a year is an average pace.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's just
good for
just
them.
yesterday.
I
mind-blowing
mean,
to me,
I'm not. I'm good for them. I'm not.
I have friends who write a book a month, and this is way before AI came along. I have two
Yeah.
people I know. I don't know if they do it every year, but they have at times written a book a month.
Yeah, it's just wild.
And not, I mean, not bad. I mean, I actually have read, I don't know, like 14 of one of them series, you know. So they're not bad, you know. I mean, they're not like maybe great art, but they're not horrible. I read them. But yeah, it's just yesterday I was writing to a group of authors and someone mentioned my character's perfect memory, and I actually wrote back, never write a character with a perfect memory. It's such a mistake. But, you know, I'm stuck, so I do the best I can.
But it's, you know, I think you have to, I mean, and the reason I sort of bring it up is it's like, I mean, I don't think there's a wrong or a right way about it. I think that you have to decide, you know, what your process is, you know, and what you want out of it. I mean, you know, if you've got less stuff coming out, you're going to get less response. It's just that simple. So you have to decide if the way you work is worth that. I mean, it's just, you know, I'm just saying these are things to consider, and these are things that I consider. It's like, what is it you're trying to do? And, you know, what is it you're attempting to achieve? I mean, this is the thing. So it's a serious question to sort of ask yourself about your process, about, you know, fast and slow are not the focus of that question. You know, it's what is your purpose in terms of this work? That's the point of this question. And I think that, you know, it's, you know, and everyone's going to have a different answer for that. And I don't think that there's necessarily a wrong answer for it. It's just the one that is that you decide is the route you're going to take.
I think you're right. I think different people have different writing styles. Like my two friends who can write really quickly, I like stuff that they've written, both of them. And it's wonderful that they have the talent to do that. But that's not the way I work. And if I tried to do that, it would be awful. So, you know, we just have to kind of each do what we can do and not. I think it's important not to try to do what somebody else does. You know, if I decided I was going to put out a book a month, it would be a disaster and it wouldn't be worth the quality. It reminds me, one year I decided to do the I forget what it's called,
NaNoWriMo.
That's it, the NaNoWriMo. And I started out with a couple of friends who were not, you know, published authors. And I had to drop out pretty quickly because it became clear to me that page count was not a good goal for me. I actually had to be, at the time I was producing something that was, you know, in the act of, you know, the next book needed to come out. And I needed to be producing finished work, not page numbers, you know. So trying to get out a certain number of pages in the month was producing work that I was just going to have to go back and rewrite. It wasn't that useful to me. But
Exactly.
you know, another person that might be exactly what they needed in order to, you know, go and produce. I mean, my husband, he almost never rewrites. He produces finished. You know, he thinks it all out, and when he writes it, normally it's done. He may move a few things around at a suggestion or realize that, you know, he's got the count wrong on ships and he has to redo something. But he basically just writes and it's done. And I'm the opposite. I rethink and rewrite and I do different versions and then you know, and so our minds work differently. And I think part of being a writer is accepting that not everybody's mind works like your mind. And it's okay to do things your way. And it's also not a good idea to criticize someone else for their way, you know, assuming you're both doing well. I'm not talking about someone who's goofing off or who should be doing something else, but just that different writers really do work differently.
Yeah, I mean, and it's, you know, it's interesting. I'll just sort of, if anyone else wants to add sort of their process, but for me, I will get an idea and I will have the opening of it, but I can't find the story until I start writing, you know, so I have to be in the process of it. But for the most part, I can sort of travel along that route pretty effectively. Um, but I don't know what the story is until I'm actually putting words on the page. I mean, I know, but I don't know. Does that make sense? It's like I generally know the road, but
It
I
absolutely
can't
does.
see what's on it. How's that sound?
Uh,
Until I'm on it.
Terry Pratchett has my favorite description of the writing process as I see it. And he described it as he could see the peaks above the mist-filled valley, but he had to walk through the mist-filled valley to find out what was there. And I really like that description because it's a lot like how I work. I might be able to tell you certain points, the peaks that I'm shooting for, but the process of writing it is part of where it's like the muse is wiser than me, and I can't access the muse unless I'm actually writing. And that's when things come together, weave together, things I never would have thought of if I just did it intellectually. So I think that's a wonderful description he has of the process.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought that. I mean, I've had that thing too. It's sometimes I feel like I'm driving up a hill, and all of a sudden I get to the open valley and I can see the whole plain, and then I can just like cruise through that until I get to the next hill I got to drive up to figure out what's coming next. And that's similar to that's what it feels like for me, and that's similar to what he's saying. And I think, I mean, I don't know, maybe other people can lay it all out. I mean, that's just how some people's minds work. And I think that's just kind of, being aware of your process is super helpful, because sometimes I need to just sort of sit and ruminate on ideas for a little bit. Like the short story I wrote for the anthology, that came out of an idea that I've had for like 2 or 3 years that I never knew what to do with. It was just sitting there. And I mean, so like the idea of it was someone, who could travel into the past for a medical reason, but then gets stuck there. And the original idea was not even based in the songless world, which is where the story is. It's going to be in the anthology. And I mean, and it was the context of it is basically the same, but how it played out was very different than how I'd been thinking about it. But that had been sitting in my head for like 2 or 3 years, and it finally, found its way. So, I mean, it is what it is.
I love things like that, by the way.
Yeah.
When my husband and I when we first started writing, we began to realize that a story that's where our 2 strings idea comes from, that every story needs 2 different things going on. And so often you'll get this great idea for a story, and it will just sit in your head until the second string, the second quality you need to bring the story to life, finally comes out, like maybe the topic relics or something like that. I had this with one story. I had this kind of almost like a vision, intuition of this great, neat idea for trying to bring out a certain kind of a spiritual thought in 2014. And many years later, I wrote it up. And I should say I wrote one version of it. I think I could probably write an entirely different story and still bring out other parts of my original insight. But I felt really good when I finally got one version of it. It was the story was called "Mary by Gaslight," and both words mean almost the opposite of a totally different thing than you think they do. But I felt really good when I finally got the story to come together in a version, and it so I know exactly what you mean. It's really neat when you have these ideas and they're sitting there and then they get done.
Carrie, You got your hand raised. You got some ideas?
I'm just saying that I have to depart, but it's really interesting with because I haven't written anything like this before. All my writing has been, except notes. I mean, it was close to actually the approach I take in my storytelling notes. It's just then writing it into full narratives. I found it quite surprising that even with source material, with the tale itself, a lot of the same stuff was coming up as it does with creative writing, and it kind of, generated creative writing. The funniest thing is that I thought, God, even though I'm writing fiction, but I'm writing it in a non-fiction way for presentation, but I still have to have that kind of flow. Those same problems led me to think that actually when I have written creatively, it's because the idea, even though it's still forming and being found in my head, is there. It is actually already there. And expressing it on the page, it's exactly the same as actually dealing with it I already know.
Very much had that experience with the Pied Piper project when we were doing that. Chrissy and I, a couple years back. Very much the same thing as what you're describing. Just and we used, generative tools in different aspects on that, but everything ultimately in the writing, where it feels very unnatural, you kind of want to make it feel better, I guess, not only in that sense, but also to kind of bridge all the information. Because like these LLMs, they think very A squared plus B squared equals C squared, which is fine, but not necessarily like enjoyable to perform or listen to, or to put accompaniment to, like if you're trying to make the narrative flow properly. And I think that's still very much where we as humans kind of excel, with that hands-on aspect for generative tools, where wherever you're coming from with that stuff. Because like, I mean, I've used them across the board for audio, like in terms of sound effects and music and video that generates audio and voices. And I've trained on my own voice, and I've had like pre-created voices do audio that was going to get lip synced, or performed audio that was going to get lip synced, and like just kind of blending and merging all those different workflows and processes to get, what is at the end of most of this stuff, it does not, in my opinion, feel like synthetic work, because it took so much of my hands-on work to finagle it onto the screen. So yeah, that's just my thinking on it. We have a couple of minutes left. If anybody has final thoughts, Carrie, you or anybody else, I know you were trying to go, but here you are anyway. We're going up against the hour, so.
No, thanks. Thanks so much again. Coming into a space like this and coming up and just doing general book talk, it brings up lots of questions I need to take to my publishers, like audiobook when, and right. Ease for the American market now, please. Right. Heidi need the book. But yeah,
this is about me, Carrie.
That's all right. And I'd like to echo what the gentleman said earlier. You are very beautiful, Heidi, and I don't care. I know you're married. It's fine. I still say it.
Thank you very much.
That's so lovely.
I appreciate it. A little more from you, because adios, Carrie. Good to talk to you.
Well, a couple of final notes from me before we close it down. World Cup action. We've got a couple more games. My Spain is still in the Final Four. They play. Is it? Gosh, what time is it? Let's have a look. Let's find out about some sport. Yeah, they play today at 2 p.m. It says, so in an hour, against France. So that's Kylian Mbappe against the kid. Gosh, I can't even remember his name off the top of my head. So you've got that World Cup action. 3 games left. On the other side, I think it's England and who is the other? Oh, Argentina, obviously. So yeah, big matchups. Going to be a fantastic finish in the last 3 games of the World Cup. But also, and I'm behind a couple of days. I'm ashamed to admit, but the July Grand Sumo Tournament started on Sunday. You can catch all the daily action on NHK World. That is Japanese cultural programming, English language broadcast from New York City. I'm watching it as soon as I can. I balance out this World Cup with the sumo stuff. It's a very heavy sports summer for me right now. But this good chat. Very happy to have everybody come on out and talk. And we'll be back on Tuesday. Heidi is hosting, I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah. So look forward to that. We'll have a topic out on Thursday, and that way people can RSVP. As it is for now, this has gone well, and we will talk again before too long.